How's it going, everyone? It is I, Anime Outlet, and this is part 2 of What If Deku Had a Chaos Quirk. And now, before we begin, I would just like to say I'm sorry for not uploading the past couple of days, as I really haven't been able to speak very well as I've been having some problems with my throat. So if you see any differences in my voice, I'm sorry for that. My throat's getting a little better, but I should be back within a couple of days. So, now, let's begin. However, in this spar, you can't use your Quirk, as let's see how powerful you really are without your almighty Quirk. Because there's a hero out there that will come along who can erase your Quirk with the snap of a finger, just like you can do anything to this world with a snap. And he's gonna come along, and he's going to kill you, because that's the best thing he can do. As if he can erase your Quirk, he's going to have to kill you to ensure that it stays erased forever. So, let's see how good you are with no Quirk, huh? All for one would say, cracking his knuckles, staring on towards Izuku. Izuku would have rushed right on towards his newfound stepfather, going in for a punch. He would push aside Izuku's fist before punching him right in the head. Izuku would fall to the ground, holding his head in pain. You shouldn't go for a frontal attack like that. Restart. He would, slapping Izuku on the side of the head as all of a sudden Izuku would open his eyes once again, would be back at the start. He would stare on towards his father, rushing towards him, going for another punch. However, this time it was deceiving. All for one, missing him clearly. All for one seeing this would end up turning right back to see Izuku with a fist going right towards his face. He would catch the fist, staring right into Izuku's eyes. Come on, Izuku, you can do better than that, he would say as Izuku would fall to the ground. He would then reappear back in front of All for One, having to restart once more. This would go on for hours and hours at a time. Izuku couldn't land a hit on All for One. All for One would sigh. It appears we have a lot of work to do. A lot. So, despite you already being insanely strong, your strategic abilities aren't to the level I wish them to be. So, you know how you couldn't hit me for over a couple of hours now, Izuku? Yes, you don't have to rub it in. Well, simply, you could have just gone for a sneak attack. As I only said you can't use your Quirk, right? Yeah, so, however, you see one thing, that was deceitful. I was deceiving you. As I don't have a Quirk to erase it, you should use your abilities to the best. Izuku would stop him right there. You know how stupid that sounds? You said I couldn't use my Quirk, and now you're saying I could've? Izuku would sigh just like his father, before walking back to his bed in frustration, going back to his room. What the hell does that old man think he is? Yeah, stupid teaching methods make no sense at all. Izuku would say, mumbling under his breath. 10 months would end up passing, as Izuku would end up becoming just a far greater student, and would be so much more strategic, so much smarter. As we now see Izuku standing across from All for One. So, at the start of this 10 months, you attempted this, and couldn't land a hit on me once. Let's see how many you can land on me now. He would say, getting into a stance as Izuku would launch himself towards him, as both of them would end up being sparring, going back and forth, trading blow for blow. As Izuku would punch All for One right in the stomach, as All for One would do the same to Izuku. Both of them would jump back, staring on towards each other, as Izuku would rush in towards him, punching him across the face. However, All for One would whip out a knife, going to stab Izuku, as Izuku would end up taking it right through the palm of his hand, twisting the palm of his hand right around, punching All for One right across the face, as his punch would carry over, slamming All for One right into the ground. All for One would stand up, dusting himself off. Great job, Zuko. You're ready. Go to the UA entrance exams now, and don't disappoint me. His father would say, staring on towards Zuko as Zuko would nod his head. Yes, father, would say, kneeling down towards his father like his father was some sort of god or master. As he would do this, he would end up standing up. So one would reach his hand out, shaking his son's hand, or stepson, rather. You better not fail. My entire plan is counting on you. Don't make me kill you. Yes, father, Zuko would say once again, as he would walk out of the building, going towards the UA entrance exam, putting on a fake facade, as his normally white hair having changed from his mother's green, from all of the stress he was going through during training. You see, All For One had put Izuku through so much stress in training, his hair had sort of done a Kaneki, turning completely white, as Izuku's hair would end up turning right back to green, completely changing who Izuku was, as his appearance wouldn't change at all besides the hair, and his eye color changing from just a weird color back to green as well. As these colors changing back to green, Izuku would wake up, stretching out, smiling, putting on a whole facade, creating a new character, a new identity, someone he might have been if he were to become a hero. So Izuku would up walking into an auditorium. Sitting down, he would stare up towards the front. Good morning, UA examinees! A hero would yell. Zuko would stare on towards this hero, as this hero happened to be the yellow-haired President Mike. Today we are going to be doing the UA entrance exam. So, with this entrance exam, we are going to have two parts. The written exam, and, let me think, oh yes, the hero exam. If you're a support course, the support exam. So, let's begin. With the written exam, of course, all those who are not taking the hero exam can leave once this is done. The tests would be passed out as Izuku would get it. He would stare at the answers, flicking with his pencil. He would end up flying through the answers as all of it was such easy math that he had done years before, as it was basically just an entire retelling of his middle school career, going through English, math, biology, science. All of those he would just fly through, as they were all subjects Izuku had aced. So, with those being flown by, Izuku would flip his test over, signifying that he was finished. A test proctor would walk up to him, look him down, making sure he hadn't cheated in any way. Grabbing his paper, he would flip through it before walking and giving it to President Mike. 20 minutes would pass, and then an hour, and then another hour. 2 hours had passed since Izuku had finished, as Izuku would end up having dozed off. As Izuku would be sleeping there, all of a sudden, President Mike would end up yelling once again. Izuku would jump forward in such shock and surprise, as his forehead would smash against the edge of the table. As his forehead smashing up against the head of the table, he would end up looking up. Looking up, Izuku would end up looking around, jumping back up before sitting down. Huh? What happened? Izuku would say, as everyone within a 20-foot radius would all be staring at him, as he had created quite a ruckus. So, now all of those who are not taking the hero exam, you all may now leave. The support course can go through that door. The hero exam, please follow me. We cut to see Izuku standing in front of just a sort of narrowish hallway. As he would be staring there, all of the sudden doors would end up opening, as he would end up cutting back to some of his training. You know, I've spent time as a hero as well, as I needed to know undercover how it was to be a hero. That's one of the reasons I'm making you go into UA. As a good villain is also a good hero. as a villain can know hero mannerisms and actions, so much to the point they could start predicting a hero's next move. So, here's one thing. A hero never waits to be yelled for them to go save someone. They always just act on their own and go to save someone, whether or not they were told to. So, you never know, that might help you out. That's your first lesson, and now your second. As we see Izuku realizing this, he would end up rushing right through those doors, as people would start muttering to themselves. Idiot. A blue-haired boy would reach out towards Izuku, grabbing onto the edge of his shirt. However, Izuku ran so fast the shirt would rip. The boy would look down towards the broken cloth in his hand. "Hey, wait! The test hasn't started yet!" He would yell, however, Izuku was already long gone. The speaker would end up ringing. "What are you guys doing? Heroes don't wait to be told to go save someone. Go!" As if in an instant, all of the kids would realize their mistake as they would run off, running to go catch up with Izuku. However, by that time, he had already destroyed half the robots in the entire city. As every robot he saw, his eyes would just flick towards them within an instant. Izuku had basically created a new ability within his chaos, an ability that allowed him to just track anything and everything, which anything he wished that could see in his eyes would just instantly be destroyed. Just like that, just so quickly. As Izuku's eyes would be flowing all around, kind of like a Sharingan or Rinnegan type thing. As it would just be flowing all around, looking on towards this and that. Izuku ended up destroying all of these robots. As Izuku, deeming himself worthy, would count up all the robots in his head. 76, 77, 90, 92, 95, 97, 98, 100 points. Yes, that's gotta be enough. But wait, didn't I destroy another? 150? Oh, I might have went overboard a little bit. But hopefully that just even secures my spot even further. Hopefully, Izuku would say to himself before jumping up onto the top of a building. Once on the top, Izuku would stare down onto everyone that was down below him, looking on towards the ruins of robots. Izuku would smile, thinking to himself, idiots. If they would have just ran with me instead of trying to stop me, they probably would have gotten a couple points for themselves. But now look at them, stuck down there without a point to spare. And they thought they'd even make it into such a prestigious school as this. Izuku laughed to himself. However, a kid would end up looking up to him. "Hey, how'd you get up here?" Izuku, turning on his fake facade once again, would be like, "Huh? Me?" Izuku would say, pointing to himself. "Yeah, you! How'd you get up there? Do you see any robots up there?" Izuku would look around before spotting a just mass of robots. "Yeah, they're that way," Izuku would say, pointing to the right. As the kid would nod his head, "Thank you, Izuku." "Thank you," he would say, with Izuku just saying, "Oh, no problem." All of the sudden, however, the same direction Izuku pointed to would end up just having a massive zero-pointer accumulate out of nowhere. This zero-pointer would tower over the entire city, staring on towards every last contestant. And within an instant, red dots would appear on every one of the contestants' foreheads. As a counter timer would start counting down. 30, 29, 28, 27, would continue counting down as Izuku, realizing what was about to happen, would jump into action. As he would jump down to the road, rushing towards the zero-pointer, pushing the kid he had just spoken to back. "Hey, what's that for? Get out of here," Izuku would say, as he would end up grabbing hold of air within his palm. As all of the sudden he would turn completely black. Izuku would jump up right towards the zero-pointer. This black orb of nothingness would start having just white lightning orbit around it, spiraling around it. Izuku would end up slamming the orb right into the zero-pointer. So the zero-pointer would end up start just violently shaking as all of the sudden it would stop, completely disappearing, slowly, kind of like just how Thanos snapped and half the world just disappeared into dust. That's pretty much what happened to the Zero Pointer, completely being destroyed. Aizawa would stare on along with the rest of the teachers on towards Izuku, who had just destroyed the massive Zero Pointer. My God, Aizawa would mutter under his breath. What scary power. Power to destroy anything. I've seen it with those small robots, but I didn't think he could do with anything that large. Just imagine if he was a villain, All For One would say, as Midnight would walk up to him smiling, putting her elbow on his shoulder. Yeah, just be glad he's on our side, you know? If he was a villain, we'd stand no chance. She would say, eyeing up Izuku, who would fall down to the ground, his sleeve completely being burnt off, as veins protruded around Izuku's arm, his arm tense from the amount of power he had used. As that orb of pure destruction takes so much power and energy away from Izuku, it's just unreal. As Izuku would hold his hand in pain, he would end up looking up, looking around for just anything that just could have seen him, as all of the sudden, over the intercom system, it would be said that the test was now over, and that all of the students can now go home. Izuku would walk back towards the hideout, where All For One would look down towards him. How'd you do? He would ask. We cut back to see all of the heroes sitting around a massive conference room. So, this kid's for sure cut for Class 1A. Oh yes, no doubt about it. His level of power was insane, and the level of control he showed while destroying hundreds of robots was also quite just advanced. Not even some third years in the hero program are able to do that. Yes, well, those are third years in classes like 3B. 3A is far more advanced than that, but that's a given. No, they've got 3 years on them by this point. So, Class 1A, Aizawa, will you take this kid? I'll think about it. It sure looks like he has potential, but maybe not. Maybe this is his limit. Do you think he could get any stronger from the point he's at? Well, it depends. We'd have to allow him in, for sure. Well, if it depends, you see, I only want kids that have limitless potential, you know? Aizawa, that can't be determined. So, how'd it go? We cut back to All For One asking Izuku, as Izuku would end up smiling. I think I did quite good. I even showed the Chaos Orb, one of my special abilities. That's good, letting them know what kind of power you hold. Maybe you'll end up scaring them. What's it matter? At least you say you'll get in. This getting in's really the only part you need. You also can't get caught. Can't get caught how? Izuku would ask, looking on towards his father. Well, you just cannot get caught. You're gonna be feeding us information and answers. And I don't want you to get caught and possibly thrown in jail. Even if I did get thrown in jail, I'd probably just break out. Plus, I've got this entire facade, Izuku would say, swiping over his face, as his green hair would turn completely white, along with his eyes. Izuku would smile towards his father. My disguise cannot be seen through. And that is where part 2 of What If Deku Had a Chaos Quirk comes to an end. I hope you all did enjoy it, and if you did, please consider subscribing, as it really does help this channel out, and you can even be notified when the other parts of this series do end up coming out. I thank you all for watching, once again, and goodbye.